live from the darkest corner of the Student Center basement. Welcome to a new edition of This Week in Auburn Sports.
Thought those things are motion activated.
That's crazy. Hey, Ron's here too.
Hey, Ron.
I didn't think he'd
That's
come.
awesome.
But joining me as always, Plainsman managing editor Justin Ferguson. I'm Eric Wallace, sports editor. And I guess the big news from around the world is the United States' run came to an end in the World Cup.
Oh, I thought the biggest news was that we changed everything in here.
Well,
We're in a new location.
maybe
New seating arrangements.
the world doesn't revolve around you or us.
I'd like to think it, though. I mean,
Don't we all?
I mean, the views. I mean, the page views tell so much.
Yeah, clearly.
We're the number one two-man weekly video about Auburn sports.
Yes.
I think that hands down. So.
New set, yeah. Obviously, biggest. Yeah, definitely the biggest.
Got some fans here today.
Absolutely.
I mean, ESPN changed up everything, so why not us?
Yeah, we're just following the worldwide leader.
Yep.
Doing what they do.
They knew this was coming, and they had to change.
Yes, absolutely. But back to Brazil.
The World Cup.
USA stumbles out in the round of 16 as far as they can go. They had their chances, honestly. They just did not take them. Dempsey had an opportunity to tie it in the extra time.
Wando had his chance right before.
Glaring miss, that one.
Yeah.
Probably hurt the worst.
Yeah. But my biggest thing about this United States team, and I said it when this whole journey began, that I thought this team was going to play hard to the final whistle every game. Mm-hmm. I thought they were going to get out of it. Yep, I was right.
You were right.
Let the record show that I was right.
You had it.
And he was wrong. No, this United States team, not a lot went their way in Brazil, but they played hard to the very end. Mm-hmm. Yeah, every match you can debate the defensive effort against Portugal, but they got in a position where they got out of the group of death. No one really expected that from this team, and the United States gained a lot of respect from the world. You can talk about Portugal's self-destruction, talk about whatever happened with Ghana. You know, they didn't have the greatest tournament in the world, but the international soccer world, when they look at teams like Italy and Spain and England, they were knocked out. And they look at the United States as a team that played hard all the way to the end, and the fans
finished in the top 16. I mean, they were one of the top last few teams to go out. And when you have things go against you like they did with Josie Altidore's injury, giving up a heartbreaker like they did in the Portugal game, it would have been really easy for them to fold and not get out of the group. But they made us believe. They absolutely
falling
made us
two
believe.
goals behind against Belgium.
Yeah.
Romelu Lukaku is a machine.
Yeah.
And against a tired U.S. defense, he just that's what having a good striker right off the bench can do for you. And the United States just didn't have that depth, especially with Josie. We don't know, how hurt Josie was.
No, yeah.
I think
we got to see a glimpse of the future a lot too.
And that's the biggest thing from this team for me is that everybody said the United States was looking for the future, looking toward the future, and that all these people who are gonna, I don't want to call them bandwagon fans, but casual soccer fans that love the United States and want us to do well in everything we do, they were like, guys, this isn't the team. Y'all are gonna have to get excited about next year. But you saw so many people get excited about this team, especially when they got out of the group of death. Mm-hmm. And the picks that Cleanser made, that everybody said, oh, he's pushing it in for the future. Mm-hmm. They worked out.
They panned out.
Julian Green scores.
John Brooks
scores. DeAndre Yedlin.
Flying all around.
Perhaps, especially when you have a guy like Fabian Johnson go down. Mm-hmm.
He's got to work on his defense, but I mean, he's shown he's got the pace to keep up with world-class players. I mean, he was over there with Hazard the whole game.
Yep.
So, I mean...
More importantly, this World Cup's been the most popular in the United States when you look at TV ratings and the buzz on social media. And it's going to grow the sport here. And, in 4 years, everyone's going to be back again. But you got to see how much soccer is starting to grow in America.
Yeah.
And, we saw it, here in Auburn. Just the watch parties, what all these people are doing. So, huge event for the world, huge event for the United States, huge event for Auburn. I know the downtown businesses really liked the World Cup coming through. So, this is really exciting. If you're a soccer fan, it's exciting. If you're an American sports fan, it's exciting. And you look toward the future, and this team will be back.
Sport's really growing. I mean, it's hard not to be excited for 2018 because Klinsman's just been building a team for that. So, moving from international football to something we're a little more familiar with, American football. We're less than 2 months away.
Yep.
From college football season. Auburn and Arkansas kick off on August 30th, with today being July. It's
today is
countdown.
July.
Yeah,
today is July. The entire month of July. Today is July.
It is. Absolutely. But July 3rd, we're underneath a month, so the countdown is here if you haven't been counting down. So
yeah, and Auburn football is it's getting that time where media days is coming up in a couple of weeks, and you're going to start seeing preseason teams, preseason polls,
we already have
projections.
Seen them.
They're going to start really piling on. The big ones are going to start coming later on, and it's going to be really interesting to see what Auburn gets and how they react to the pressure.
Right.
Because
they're not the underdog anymore. Yeah.
For the last few years, even in 2010, Auburn was not expected to be a national title contender. You could argue they haven't been expected to be a national title contender in a very long time. And now this year, they're probably going to be nearabouts. They should be a top 10 team. I would think they'd be a top 5 team, but you never know.
They'll have the target on their back every game. I mean, and no team is going to come in overlooking them at any point.
But how do you think this team's going to handle it? Because
it's different. Your preparation changes when
absolutely.
People are not overlooking you. It's a different mindset. But the team has a senior leadership. They have guys like Gabe Wright. They have Nick Marshall as a senior on the offensive side. The experience is there, so
I think Reese Dismukes, when you look at the offense, a guy who's been a 4-year starter, who will be a 4-year starter this year. Look at the ups and downs he's been through at Auburn, and he came in after a national championship season. He went through one of the worst seasons in history, and then he went through last season, was the leader for the team.
He's seen it all.
You got that leadership. Auburn's got that returning talent.
Yep.
The schedule's going to be what's tough for Auburn, and I'm interested to see what Auburn gets in these like AP preseason polls, these early polls, and what people think about how the Tigers will do this year. I'm interested to see how Auburn fans will react to this, and I'm really interested to find out what Auburn fans think.
Yeah.
There's a lot of optimism. There's a lot of realism because there's Auburn fans have seen really good teams go out to slow starts, and they've seen under-the-radar teams go all the way. So.
I think it'll be interesting to see how the fan base reacts if things don't go Auburn's way earlier in the season. If they slip up on the road at Kansas State, if somehow Arkansas surprises them at home, how does the fan base react to that?
More importantly,
stay behind the team?
More importantly, how does the team react?
Yeah.
What will be the team's thinking, let's get back to the national championship, which is what you want to have if you're a major conference team. You want to have the mindset of we're going to the national championship. That's our goal. What's going to happen if Auburn loses a game or two? What's going to be? How do you define success at that point from Auburn? Because they've been blessed. They've been blessed with a lot of several great moments for the last few years, 2010, 2013, and they've also had to suffer through some really bad moments. So. It's almost here, and we'll be talking about it week after week, leading it up. And but
I can't wait.
The countdown's on. The official countdown's on.
And some more tragic news, as I'm sure you've all heard. Former Auburn tight end Philip Lutzenkirchen passed away this weekend in a tragic car accident. So we would just like to send out our condolences from us two, and I think everybody in the Plainsman office to their family and friends of Lutzenkirchen.
And this week's issue of the Plainsman, we have some stories that people have sent us in, talked to about how much Lutzenkirchen affected their lives, on and off the field. How great of a competitor he was, and how great of a player and a man.
There was an outpouring of just love and support for him, I think, that you saw after when the news broke. I mean, there were over 100 people at Toomer's Corner on Sunday.
And that shows you the tribute. He was one of the most loved Auburn players I've ever seen.
Yep.
Even other fan bases just
Absolutely.
Enjoyed watching him play, and so to see that outreach and support for his family, and it was a sad few days
Absolutely.
here in Auburn, and they have the memorial service coming up. So, but yeah,
he left us with moments we'll never forget. You'll never forget the Lutzy dance. I'll never forget seeing him out on the concourse in a dunk booth, Bruce Pearl style. He left us a lot of great moments.
He'll go down as one of the greats in Auburn history.
Absolutely. Well, that's all we got this week, but we look forward to seeing you back in our new location. So
hopefully we can bring Ron back.
Yeah, I think. You want to come back next week?
No.
Well, we'll see you next week for next week's edition of This Week in Auburn Sports.